Let's talk about continuing education and personal professional development. I'm Mary Wilson. I've homeschooled my 4 kids. 3 have graduated, 1 is left. I teach online book clubs for kids. And most of you are familiar, this is my 2 bookshelves for this year, with all of the kids' books that I read during the year. And I still read a lot of adult fiction books for pleasure. But I was inspired by some really 20, 30 somethings on TikTok who were sharing like the way they were designing a kind of college course for themselves over a semester using AI. And I thought, I'm not going to necessarily do what they're doing, but I wanted to stop, pause, and think about purposefully selecting some books for myself so that I continue to learn, to grow, to challenge my ideas for myself personally. So I thought I would share them with you today. All right, the first one, I actually did find this one using AI, called Read Aside: How Schools Are Killing Reading and What You Can Do About it. I don't know what gems will be in this book, but as a book club leader for children, I thought there might be some stuff in here for me to consider and just to learn, because this is something I am interested in personally and professionally. All right, another book on my list. Now, I have to confess, I have never read Braiding Sweetgrass, and that one is a little long, and I was looking for something short, and I was seeing some interviews with the author on TikTok, and a lot of people were recommending in the comments The Service Berry: Abundance and Reciprocity in the Natural World. And I'll read you a little bit of what attracted me to this book. She talks about the service berry's relationship with the natural world is an embodiment of interconnectedness and gratitude. I'm so curious. People really love this. I am not a nature girl. I love, obviously, Zion. I'm wearing my Zion shirt. I love travel. I love the national parks. I've taken my kids to them, but I am more attracted to the adventure of it all. And I'm just curious how this book will strike me as she tries to connect the natural world to the world that we are living in. I think it'll be a good one for me. And it's very short. It's going to be a quick read. So a nice introduction to this particular author. But Braiding Sweetgrass has been mentioned a lot, really popular. I just haven't read it. I think this will be a good start. All right, those of you who don't know, I am a Christian. I am really into theology. I went through a time of deconstruction and I was reading constantly. And I've kind of taken some time off from reading theology books. I'm kind of settled in a great church community, but a speaker came to our church, Zach Lambert, and he wrote the book, Better Ways to Read the Bible. Seems like something that would be right up my alley, and it's been a while, so I am going to be reading this one. And I'm on like chapter 6, and I'm really enjoying it. I've been reading parts of it out loud to my kids as I go. I think it's really well-written, conversational tone. So if that's your jam, you could check that out as well. Okay, another goal I have is to understand finances more. I am in my late 40s. I'm 48, so I'm a little late to the game, but not too late. It's never too late. But I want to be able to teach my kids, and I've always been pretty good with money. We have great budgeting software. I've learned a lot from my dad about investing, but I decided with a friend, holding up the Kindle. Let's see if it works. Oh, it does. I came across The Money Guys. They have a podcast, and this was a book one of them wrote, Brian Preston. I'm actually reading it with a friend, and we're kind of sharing financial goals, sharing where we are, what we're doing, a little accountability to reach those goals, and trying to learn a little more about investing, retirement, different funds, options that are out there for us. So that one, and then this is the other one that I have. I may not get to this one, but I've heard a lot about this one, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I can skim some of these. I'm very fortunate not to have a lot of debt. There's a lot of chapters. I don't need a whole lot of instruction on credit cards, but I'm hoping to at least jump into this one, possibly. And my son and I, he is 16, and we were thinking of getting the audio of this one to listen together when we're driving back and forth to his English class because he's been interested. There's actually a teen version of this one, but it was 2.5 hours and this one's 8.5. And I'm like, I don't know. We might want the whole thing. So we're thinking about listening to that together, but I'm definitely going to focus on Millionaire Mission. Okay, this is one I must have seen somewhere that I picked up, Amusing Ourselves to Death. See the screen heads? This is the public discourse in the age of show business. And this was written, this is the 20th anniversary edition. So it was actually more written when television was the big visual entertainment. But people were talking about this one online, and it sounded really interesting for me to consider. Yeah, it was written in 1985. So it's been a while, but people are still talking about it. And I feel like it's probably even more pertinent with the social media clips that circulate. So I'm going to start it. I mean, if I find that I'm like, this isn't what I thought it was, I always give myself permission to say, not what I thought it was, and put it aside. Okay, and then I am in 2 book clubs. I went ahead and I joined Sharon Sesso's book club again this semester, mainly because she has Amy Comey Barrett coming to speak to the group. So I don't have that book. I'm still on the wait list from the library. It should come in time for the book club. So I'm going to read her book. It is called Listening to the Law. And I'm just really curious. And I love the idea that I am going to have access to hear a Supreme Court justice talk. So for me, this isn't about, oh, you align with everything politically, nothing like that. There are definitely things that if Amy Comey Barrett and I sat down, we would disagree. But one of my goals is to continue to understand other people's thoughts, process, and she's going to be talking about how all of that impacts when making decisions on the law. So I've had some friends start the book saying it's really excellent. They definitely have some questions they'd like to ask. I don't know what we're going to get to ask in her book club appearance, but I am in Sharon Sesso's book club, and that is one of the books. The other one, I don't know anything about, I can't say, but I just grabbed it because it was on the list, and that is Between Two Kingdoms. And Sharon always has the authors come as well. I'm not even sure, to be quite honest, what this book is about, but Sharon says we're going to read it, so I'm going to read it because I'm part of the book club. So I will pass the title on. You could look it up if you're interested. And her book club is closed for the quarter. You can't join. Everything's kind of settled. I joined it about a year ago, and I just wasn't able to make the time. So this time I'm really committing. I've got everything on my calendar, and I'm really committing to trying to learn and grow. And then I have a book club with just friends. So this is fiction reading, but it's not for my book clubs with kids. And it's not just my own guilty pleasure choices. These are ones that, we each pick different titles through the year. So I didn't choose any of these titles, though we all kind of agreed on the December one. So this month, actually next week, we are meeting to discuss The Things We Cannot Say. Here we go. The Things We Cannot Say. I am started on this one. I'm on chapter 4 and I really love it. And then we're reading a book called Love and Saffron. I didn't pick it, don't know anything about it, but you can check it out. And we're reading one called The Letter Carrier. Again, someone else picked it. And then we decided for December, we just looked at some reviews, some options, and we settled on one called The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year. We're all big crime podcast fans, and we thought that would be kind of a fun one for December. Let me know what you're reading. I would like to do this for myself again in 2026. If you have something that you're reading right now for like personal growth, or maybe it's part of a book club, not necessarily your own personal choice, let me know. I would love to make a list for next year as well. All right. Thanks for joining.